Good day everyone. In this video we are going to discuss about the parts of PLC. So basically PLC consists of four main parts. So the first part is the central processing unit or CPU, and the second part is the input or output section. Third part is the power supply. Fourth part is the programming device. So these are the four main parts of PLCs: CPU, I/O section, power supply and programming device. Now we will discuss each and every one in detail. So these are the parts of PLC. So you can look at this diagram this way, that is these two diagrams together and these three diagrams together. Okay, so these two we call it as modular type and these three we call it as fixed type. I will explain the difference between fixed and modular at the end of this video. Now let us look at this diagram carefully. So what are the main parts of PLC? CPU. So here is the CPU. Then I/O section. So here we have an input module, output module. Together it comprises the I/O section. Then power supply. So power supply module. Then programming device. So these are the four main parts. If you look at this diagram also, you can see CPU, that is processor, then input and output section, power supply, then programming device. It can be connected like this. Okay, so these are the four main parts. Now look at this diagram. You can see that there is an input module here, and to this input module there are different devices connected, right? So these are the symbols of input devices which we will be discussing in the forthcoming lectures. Okay, so these are different input devices, that is sensors and transducers. Okay, so those input devices will be connected to the input module. Okay, and then if you take the output module, you can see that there are different devices. These are output devices, okay, like motors, actuators, coils, etc. Okay, so these are some of the output devices which are connected to the output module. So input module and output module, different input and output devices will be connected to these modules. Okay, then you can see the processor. Okay, so processor, it consists of processor module. Then you have memory, because you need some kind of storage element, right? So memory acts as a storage element for program as well as data. So program as well as data. Now power supply. So power supply, it supplies power to the processor, input module and output module. And programming device, so this is like a computer through which you can write programs, then you can feed in those programs to the processor. Okay, so these program devices, it is not mandatory, it has to be connected to the PLCs all the time. Once you are done with the program, you can disconnect these devices. Okay, so these are the parts of PLC, and you can see between the CPU and input module and CPU and output module there is a optical isolation. Optical isolation is we are providing isolation, okay, between these modules to prevent damages to the processor. Okay, in detail we will be discussing each and everything now. So now you look at this diagram. This is a modular type PLC and this is a fixed type of PLC. Look at the difference, and we will be discussing that in the later part. Now power supply. So power supply, we know that it supplies power to the PLC. So PLC, completely all of the PLCs run using DC power, not AC. It uses DC power. Okay, So normally for larger PLC systems, this power supply does not normally supply power to the field devices. Now field devices are nothing but these devices, right? These input devices and output devices are what we call it as field devices. They are the actual devices, okay? Sensors and transducers, motors, actuators, all those devices is what we call it as field devices. In case of larger PLC systems, these power supply will not be provided to the field devices. That is, you have a power supply module here, it will provide supply to the PLC. For larger PLC system, this will not provide supply to the field devices. Separate power supply for the field devices will be given. But when you go for small micro PLC systems, some PLCs, I mean these micro type of PLC systems, it provides, that is the power supply is provided to the field devices also. So this is power supply. Next is CPU. CPU is the processor. We know that it is the brain of PLC. Okay, so it is the processor, typical processor which will be executing our logic. So we will be writing some kind of program, and that program will be stored inside the processor, and that program will be executed each and every time. Now to store that, the processor should contain memory. What are the other things the processor will be storing? The input datas, the output datas, all those datas will be stored, right? So for all these things you require a memory, right? So the processor requires memory for storing user program instructions, numerical values, and IO device status. Now this is how the PLC processor looks like. Now PLC scan, right? Now what is this PLC scan? We'll see it now. So we know that CPU is the brain of PLC and it controls all the activities of PLC, right? So normally what we'll be doing is, let us say you have some kind of operation which you have to perform. Say we are going to control the level of a tank, okay? So to control the level of the tank, I'll be writing some kind of program to control level of tank, to maintain the level at a particular height, okay? So that logic is what we call it as PLC program, okay? So executing this PLC program repetitively is what we call it as scan, and it follows a cyclic pattern, okay? And it follows a cyclic pattern, okay? So what is that cyclic pattern? Look at this diagram. This is the cycle which PLC follows. It reads the input, okay? So to maintain the level of the tank, what I have to first perform, I have to know the height of water in the tank first. So I'll take the level sensor and read it input, okay? Then I'll give that input to the program. So this is what the level is. You do a particular calculation or execute a program and it will generate an output, right? So that is the control signal, right? Now that signal will be given to the actuator, so that the actuator will either open or close, thereby increasing the level of tank, right? So updating the outputs. Updating the output is modifying the level of tank now, right? And finally diagnostics and communication. Diagnostic and communication is the internal task which PLC performs. So this cycle, it repeats continuously, okay? The moment it reads the input, it gives the data to the processor. The processor will execute the program and it will get it generates an output. That output will be given to the output devices. Again the diagnostic is performed. Then again the sensor input is read, control signal is generated, output is updated, and again. So this follows a cyclic pattern, and this is what we call it as PLC scan. Okay, now this PLC scan will be continuously performed until the PLC is in run mode. There are different modes of PLC which we will be discussing in the later part. That is, the process, if it keeps running, this is the cycle, that is PLC scan cycle, it will be following. Okay, next is the IO system. So IO system is nothing but input output system. So this forms as an interface between field devices to the controller. You in the previous block diagrams you would have noticed that the controller was separate and you had a separate input module, separate output module. To these modules devices were connected, right? So it forms, these modules forms an interface between field devicer and processor. Okay, so processor, it understands only digital signals. Okay, so the field devices, it might be digital or analog. Digital, what is digital? It might be on or off, that is 0 or 1. Or analog is like a level sensor. There is a difference between level switch and level sensor, right? Level switch is, if it attains a particular level, it will be on. If not, it is off. That is what. So you will get 0 or 1 as your output. Whereas in case of level sensor, at each and every point of time I can get the value of level in a tank, right? So there is a difference between these devices, but your processor, it understands only digital signals. So there should be some kind of conversion of signals from the input devices to the processor, again from the processor to the field devices. Okay, so that is done with the help of this IO system. Okay, so the input devices, it can be push buttons, limit switches, sensors, etc. Output devices can be small motors, motor starters, solenoid valves, indicator lights, etc. These are some of the output devices. Now if you remember, if you remember, you can see there is an optical isolation here, right? So this is the optical isolation between input module and processor and output module. So why this optical isolation is needed is because PLC, the processor of the PLC is the costliest one, and we cannot afford any damage to that processor. Okay, so normally all the types of PLCs, it has optical isolation. Okay, so that the input devices and output devices will not be directly connected to the processor. Of course, the signals from these devices are communicated to the processor, but there is an optical isolation. There is not a wiring connection directly from the input device to the processor. Okay, so you can see it here. The external devices are what we call it as field or real world inputs and outputs. Okay, so why we call it as field and real world are, these are physical devices, okay, which can be connected to these modules. Now this is an input module. Okay, this input module, you notice that there is a screw type arrangement here, right? So if you count it, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, right? So this is one set and another set. So you have the numbering to this here. You can look at this, right? IN0, IN1, 2, 3, etc. up to 15. So totally you have 16 terminals, right? And this DC COM is common. Okay, so you have 16 terminals, right? So I can connect 16 type of field devices to this. Okay, so the data from this 16 devices will be stored here, right? This is actually inside the PLC. The data from these devices will be communicated through the input module to the processor. Okay, and this is the output module. So to this output module, you can see there are different field devices connected, and since this is output module, notice the difference in the notations. It is input module, so it is IN, and this is output module, so it is out. Now these can vary according to the manufacturers. Okay, so according to the different PLC manufacturers, this input and output, all those will be varying. So this is how the input module and output module looks like, and how you connect the devices. Next is programming device. So programming device is a device through which you write program inside the PLC. Okay, so this programming device basically is of two types. One is handheld programming device, another one is the personal computer. Okay, so these handheld programming devices are mainly used to program small PLCs, and they are inexpensive and it is very easy to use. Now these devices, it can be plugged into the PLC and they can be used to enter and monitor programs. So just like a bigger size of mobile phone, imagine a bigger size of mobile phone. Okay, so those devices through a communication cable can be connected directly to the PLC, and you can monitor or change your program with the help of this handheld device. Okay, so both compact handheld units and laptop computers are frequently used on the factory floor for troubleshooting equipment, modifying programs, transferring programs to multiple machines. So if you take a PC, this is the most commonly used programming device. Okay, so each and every PLC, it has some kind of software. Inside that software only we have to write the coding. Okay, so that software can be installed inside a PC. Okay, so that PC can be used as a programming device. Okay, so using that software you can create, edit, document, store, troubleshoot ladder logic programs. So ladder logic program is the type of programming which is predominantly used in PLCs. So all these datas we'll be seeing in detail in the forthcoming lectures. We are just seeing the overview of the parts of PLC. Each and individual parts we'll be discussing in detail in the forthcoming lectures. So through this PC, we can write program, edit it, modify it, troubleshoot it, etc. Okay, so this PC, that is computer, it can communicate with the PLC using some kind of communication cable. Okay, and one important point is, if the programming unit is not in use, it may be unplugged or removed. Removing the program unit will not affect the operation of the user program. This is one of the main point. Once the programming is done, I can remove that programming device. Okay, so by removing that will not affect the working of the PLC. Okay, so next is fixed type and modular type. Remember at the starting of this lecture we discussed these two terminologies, fixed type and modular type. Now fixed type is, so look at this diagram, this PLC is called as a fixed type. You can easily notice the difference. So here is the processor. Now you remember this screw connections which we saw in the input and output module. So in case of fixed type, the processor, input module, output module, everything is clubbed together. That's why this is called as a fixed type IO. Okay, so these small PLCs that come in one package with no separate removable units. Okay, all the modules are fixed inside this. We cannot remove anything. Okay, we cannot change anything. This is a fixed type. Okay, so the processor and the IO are packaged together, and the IO terminals will have a fixed number of connections built in for inputs and outputs. So this is fixed. So the number of terminals available here is actually fixed by the manufacturer. If I want to have more number, I cannot go. Okay, so that is the disadvantage of this fixed type. Okay, main advantages, it is very compact and you can afford it at a lower cost, and the number of available IO point, it varies. Okay, so it can also be expanded, but by buying more units of fixed IO. Okay, the disadvantage is, it is fixed IO. I cannot have the flexibility. If suppose there are only 16 terminals available, that's it. I cannot go for the 17th terminal. Okay, so the disadvantage is the lack of flexibility. Okay, so look at this here. So this is the PLC. Here is the input terminals. Here is the output terminals. The input devices are connected to the input terminals, and inside this packaging itself there is an isolation between input and processor part. Okay, and similarly here at the output side, between the processor and output you have a isolation, optical isolation, So here are the terminals of the output. To these terminals the output devices are connected. So this is fixed IO. And next is modular type IO. Modular type is divided into compartments into which separate modules can be plugged. So now look at this diagram. You can easily notice the difference between the previous one and this. Each and every modules can be easily fixed into a rack like thing, right? Look at this diagram. I can easily remove this and again insert it back, right? So these are divided into compartments into which you can plug in units. Okay, so this increases users flexibility like anything, okay, compared to a fixed IO. So you can choose from the modules available from the manufacturer and mix them any way you desire. This is one important because according to the application I can go for different module combinations. Suppose say I have 20 analog inputs that has to be controlled, okay, and only almost 80 digital input outputs which has to be controlled. Then I can go for separate modules, right? So look at this diagram. Power supply is separate, processor module is separate, and I have a separate input module and I have a separate output module. Then a combination IO module which has both inputs and outputs. Okay, so this is how a modular PLC looks like. Okay, so basic modular rack consists of power supply, processor, input output module, and an operator interface for programming and monitoring. So these modules will be plugged into a rack. You can see the back part. So these are something like a rack and we are keeping the modules inside this. Okay, so when the module slides into the rack, you can see at the back side you have electrical connections, right? So once this module is fixed here, through that back pane all the elements will be connected. Okay, so the PLC processor is also connected to the back pane and can communicate with the modules in the rack. So the moment this module gets attached to this rack, it can be communicated to all these things. Okay, so this is the basic difference between fixed and modular. In fixed type, the input module, output module and PLC, everything is clubbed together and available in the form of a single device. Okay, whereas modular IO, it is not like this. You have different modules which can be inserted into the rack according to the user needs. Now, so with this the parts of PLC is over. So if you remember, we have discussed the 4 important parts: power supply, programming device, input modules, output modules, and processor, CPU. Okay, and in input and output we discussed 2 types, fixed and modular. Now next is the architectures. Architecture is basically you have 2 types of architecture: open architecture and closed architecture. What is open architecture is, open architecture is something similar to a open source, right? So you in PLCs you have different number of manufacturers. Okay, so the device from one manufacturer can be combined with the device with another manufacturer and together they can be used in an application. Okay, so these 2 devices, if it can able to communicate with each other, then that falls under the category of open architecture. Okay, so the design allows the system to be connected easily to devices and programs made by other manufacturers. Let's say one device is from one manufacturer and the other device is from the other manufacturer. These 2 devices, it can communicate easily. Okay, if that is the case, then that is open architecture. The next one is closed architecture. So this is completely opposite of this. So all the PLC devices, I mean most PLC system developed are proprietary in nature. Proprietary is, if suppose let's say Siemens manufactures a PLC, okay, so the design of that PLC is proprietary in nature, it is unique. Okay, so when you connect different types of PLCs, let's say Siemens and ABB, Okay, we are trying to connect these two systems in a particular application. Now the communication between these two devices, it becomes difficult. Okay, so that type of case is called as a closed architecture, because to program Siemens they have their own programming language, and again to program ABB they have their own programming language. Okay, now to communicate these two things we need a moderator kind of thing, right? So there should be a generic hardware or software that is compatible with a particular PLC. Okay, so that should be available if we are dealing with closed architecture. Now this architecture, this applies to hardware, software, or a combination of both. Okay, so PLC hardware also you have open and closed, software also open and closed. So this is the difference between open and closed architecture. Now this is the last one. So we are going to make a difference between PLC and computer. So till now we have seen the benefits of PLC, what are the parts of PLC, how does a PLC work, and we know how a computer works, right? Now we can be able to differentiate between this PLC and computer. So PLC, it is an industrial grade computer. So this is designed to operate mainly in the industrial environment. Okay, because of the wide ranges of ambient temperature and humidity. Whereas if you take a case of computer, it is not so. It is not so rugged enough to withstand the variations in temperatures, pressures, humidity, etc. Second point is, it is not affected by electrical noise inherent in most industrial locations. So industries, it is very rugged. Okay, so it is very prone to noises and all other kinds of things. So PLC, it will not be affected easily by the electrical noise, whereas computers, it is not so. It is easily affected by the electrical noise. Now PLC, it executes a single program in an orderly and sequential fashion from first to last instruction. If you remember the PLC scan which I told you, it follows that particular cyclic order only. It reads the input, executes the program, generates an output, and this cycle, it is continuously repeated. So it occurs in an order and sequential fashion. Okay, whereas computers, it is not like that. It is a complex computing machine where you can easily perform multitasking, right? Simultaneously you can open a Word document, go for an Excel, or play a video, play a music, perform a game. Okay, all those tasks can be easily performed using computers. Okay, so here multitasking can be done, whereas in case of PLC it is not possible. Then PLCs, input and output devices can be easily connected to the PLCs, but in case of computers there are no terminals for connecting the input and output field devices. So these are the important points which discusses the difference between PLCs and computers. Thank you.